Welcome to Mor-In The Know podcast. I'm your host, Josh Morin, co-founder and vice president of Field Supplements, as well as sobriety, woke, business, and wellness coach. Mor-In The Know delivers an array of content based on marketing, health and fitness, personal branding, addiction, and often goes down the rabbit hole of conspiracy, politics, and the truth. If you seek to better understand the inner workings of human performance, consciousness, business, and humanity, you have come to the right place. Thank you for tuning in and tagging along. Let's get today's podcast started. More than no listeners, what's happening? It has been 1 week, nearly 1 week since I uploaded the last podcast. I completed the 30 for 30 podcast series, and now we are on just a normal schedule. And I decided to give myself a little bit of a breather, some time to reflect. I went out to the mountains this last weekend. I was up in Sedona and got to get myself back into that rootedness, and I didn't have any sort of worry while I was out there. I truly believe when you are in a space of relaxing, or if you're on vacation, if you're out and about and you're in nature, you should just be there. Be there, and when you're here and when you're working, be there. So when you're out vacation 100%, baby. When you're out here working, work your butt off. So and put those hours in. Get your ass in a chair, AIC, ass in the chair, and produce some results that you seek to achieve. So today's podcast, obviously there's a lot going on in the world right now, and I'm not going to weigh in on some of the heavier topics. I'm going to probably take some time and really allow myself and give myself the space to indulge in it a little bit more, and to really feel out how I'm going to project my message in a way that people can understand and see where I'm coming from. And what's going on in the world is unfortunate. I think there's a deeper meaning and a deeper cause of what's happening. I think at the surface level, on what is being protested and what is being projected, on the surface level is great. Unity. We all are one. You know, Black lives do matter. All lives matter. Baby lives matter. And I'm not going to get into those topics. But I see all sides of the spectrum, and I feel for you. I understand you, and I love you. So that's my message for that. But instead of weighing in on some of those heavy topics, I'm going to give and allow myself some time and space to be able to indulge in my own thoughts, opinions, and emotions, be able to then project and objectively speak my thoughts and feelings in our very articulate message. So I will touch on that at some point, but I want you to know during this time, if you are feeling anxious, if you're feeling unorganized, depressed, down, and unknowing, in a state of unknowing, I do offer free coaching calls to assist you during this time of letting go, breathing, being present, and being your best self today, because you absolutely deserve it. Please feel free to reach out to me. I offer 20-minute free coaching calls. You can sign up at moreintheknow.org, or you can reach out to me directly, and I will get back to you in the next 24 hours. But for the means of this podcast today, episode number 39, I want to share a story from yesterday because I think there's a lot of information that can be a lesson to be learned here. There's a major lesson that can be learned during experiences in your life that are they don't happen by happenstance. I don't believe that anything happens by chance. I believe that everything has a purpose. And yesterday, Wednesdays are typically my day that I sit in a chair for about 8 to 9 hours, and I just work all day long. And I put in the effort, and I put in the time, and I develop the skills, and I'm doing most of my ass in chair on a Wednesday, and on other days I'm putting about 4 or 5 hours to my ass in chair, but on Wednesday specifically, it's about 8 or 9. It's a full day thing. Yesterday, about halfway through my day, I got a ring on our door, and I went to see who it was, and it was the neighbor. And I'm on the phone, and the neighbor is kind of backed off about 10 or 15 feet, and she says she's a Mexican lady next door. She can barely speak English. And so she was trying to explain something to me, and I was on the phone, and I'm all back and forth like, what's going on? So I hung up the phone, and I go, okay, what's happening? And she was telling me that something was under my truck, and I thought that she said there was a snake under my truck. So I was like, well, man, I don't want to really go out there and check if there's a snake under my truck. I don't know. Like, I'm not cool with that. And then she says, no, cat. There's a cat under your truck. So I said, oh, well, there's a cat. Like, what kind of cat? And she goes, little kitty. And I said, oh, man, all right. So I look under my truck, and sure enough, there was a tiny little champagne-colored cat, little kitten, lodged up way deep in my wheel well. wheel well, deep in my wheel well, and she at first was on the cement. And it's 110 degrees out. Take take that into factor, and for instance, and she's like burning her legs, so she gets up, she says it's too hot. So I get down, I reach up there and I grab the kitten, and right as I grab the kitten, she just says okay, and she walks inside. She just says bye. And I said, well, now I have this kitten. I'm not quite sure what to do with it, but I'll find a solution. I'll figure out what needs to happen and the best road to allow this cat to have the best life. Did I want to keep the cat? 100%. Was it meant for me? Maybe it was God's way of saying, here's a gift to you, and the cat chose me. And I've had a lot of people say that the cat chose me for its next life, but I'm not quite sure if I'm ready to be a father yet. You could call me daddy, but I'm not ready to be a father. So with that being said, I took in the cat. I got it to relax a little bit. It was freaking out, not running around, but just really shaking. I gave it some cuddles. I gave it a nice place to sleep, and it passed out in the nice air-conditioned home for a while. And I gave it some water. And after I gave it some water, I gave it some time. And I figured, okay, well, I don't have anywhere for it to go to the bathroom. And I was just about to go to Walmart or the grocery store to pick up a litter box so it can have somewhere to go to the bathroom in the time being before I found it a home. Well, I brought it outside, and I set it down, and then real quick, I mean, that little girl, actually, she bolted. She gave me one look back of remorse, and she says, peace out, bro. Fuck the system. I'm for the free world. It's like, all right. So the cat bolts, and I didn't realize that the whole yard, I thought the yard was completely enclosed. I guess there's a little tiny spot in the gate over here that's open that the cat literally sprinted to, ran out, and I'm like, damn, we are back at square one. I go to the next door neighbor's house and I said, hey, like, I'm pretty sure this kitten is up in your van or somewhere around here in this little back area, because I could hear it meow every now and then. And she says, okay, so we're looking for it, didn't find it. And I said, okay, I'm just going to let it have a breather for a while. And I gave it about 20, 30 minutes. I go back out, and when I went back out there, I saw it underneath the van, and when I went to approach it, it jumped up way deep in the van, like to a point in the van that I couldn't even see where the cat was at. So I jockeyed back and forth about 5 or 6 times, and every 20 or 30 minutes I would go out there, and the cat was on the ground. I'd come out there, and it would go back up. So this went on for about 4 or 5 hours, and it was about 9:30 at this point. And about 9:30, I said, I'm going to go outside and check on this cat one more time to see if I can see it or find it or catch it. Because for some reason, I was gonna let the kitten just be out for the day, and then I was gonna take care of it today and see what I could figure out for today, or just say, hey, you're in God's hands now. You're part of the free system, man. I know it's 2020 and it's apocalyptic out there, and maybe you don't want to have a home, so I'm just giving you what you want, man. And yeah, I went back out, and as I was walking out of my room, I could hear the cat meowing, and I look out my window, and she's like right at the she's at the bottom of my window. So I walk out of my room, and as I walk around, I saw her go back up into the van. And so I walked back inside. I put on a long sleeve t-shirt, and granted, it's about 110 degrees out in Arizona right now. Put on a long sleeve t-shirt. It was a full moon, so maybe it was meant to be. And I literally laid on my back on the ground next to this van, and I meowed to this little kitten for about 40 minutes. I meowed, and this cat would meow back, and finally I got the cat to come down underneath the van just enough. I mean, she was still lodged in there, just enough that I could reach my hand and start to kind of touch her and kind of grab her, but she was too far to my reach, and I was getting grease all over my arm, my face. I'm laying on the ground. It's 110 degrees. I am profusely sweating. And this little kitten, I could tell, is breathing hard, and it's kind of panicking. So I'm not trying to really make too many big moves, because I don't want the cat to panic, go back up into the engine of the van, as well as I don't want it to overwhelm itself to a point where it passes out or has a heart attack or it dies of dehydration. And so I just really wanted to be calm during the situation. I tuned in to my tiger, my Tiger King. I tuned into that, and I said, I'm going to meow to this kitten for about 40 minutes, and sure enough, I got it down, and I took my hand and kind of was like patting its butt so I could see if I could find a way to kind of reach and grab it. Anyway, I got it to a point where I moved my butt around to the wheel well, and then I reached my arm deep up in there, and I finally could get a hold of her. And I grabbed her, and I just slowly pulled her out, slowly got her out from my arm all the way up. I was just full of grease. She was full of grease, and I got her inside, and I kept on to her last night, and this morning I had somebody reach out. It was a good friend of mine reached out and said, "Hey, I have 2 cats at my house. I'd love to take her. I have everything that she needs. I'll provide her an awesome home, and we'll take great care of her." And he's a good friend of mine, so I just want to shout out to Joe, brother Joe. I appreciate you, my man, and I know that you and your partner are going to take great care of this animal, and I'm grateful that I was able to do my due diligence in this situation by potentially, did I rescue the cat? Whatever, maybe. But I feel maybe I gave it an opportunity to live because it's 110 degrees out there. It is a little tiny 5 or 6 week old kitten, and it's a tough world out there. And maybe this gave it a better opportunity, and I know that the life that it's now going to live is going to be much better than, number one, the one I can provide for it, just because I'm so busy right now, and number two, the chances of it surviving out there are very, very slim. So that brings up to my point. So I'm very grateful that I was able to help out this kitten, and I'm not a dog. I am not a cat person. I'm very much a dog person and never been really fond of cats. I love cats, but I wouldn't typically go out of my way. Now, if that was like a full-grown cat, I'd just be like, all right, see you later, man. Peace out. You got life. You got life by the horns now, man. Me, now, it's a little kitten, and maybe it was the little kitten that paved its way to my heart and caved its way into my heart. And I think there's a lesson to be learned here, and the lesson is this, is that, and I see this all the time amongst people, is that people love animals much more than they love each other. And we kind of laugh about it, and it's funny, and it's like, well, and I'm sure you're probably listening and say, well, yeah, of course I love my dogs more than I love most people, but I want to know why. And I was thinking about it yesterday, and the amount of unconditional love and selflessness that I just had, not because I was really getting anything out of it, or I don't want to have this be something where I'm the one who's making an act of valor. I was just doing what my heart was telling me to do. I was going to leave it out there, and it was 10 feet away from me, and my conscience could not freaking leave this cat alone, and I was just going to leave it alone and let God do its grace, but for some reason I just couldn't. And I don't even really like cats in that sort of sense. I'm not like a cat guy. I've never owned one in my life. I'm not wouldn't call myself a cat daddy. But you know what? I have now qualified to be one of the best and one of the top cat uncles in the entire world. I've already claimed the prize of best dog uncle in the world. I'm a dog uncle to many. I don't have my own dog. Rest in peace to the dog that I tried rescuing, Tough. But I'm a cat uncle now. So I'm a dog uncle and a cat uncle, and now I'm trying to break down this relationship that humans have with animals, and why can't we replicate that same selflessness, that same act of caring, that same act of appreciation and unconditional love that we have for an animal? Why can't we put that upon our brothers and our sisters and our mothers and our fathers and our neighbors? Why can't we love thy neighbor as we love ourselves? Why can't we love thy neighbor as we love thy pets? That's going to be my new slogan, is love thy neighbor as you love thy pet, because we love our pets way more. We love our pets in this unconditional space of love. And that is the true meaning of unconditional love. If you want to know what unconditional love is, look at how you treat your pets. That's it. That's the definition. Like, that's as much of an example as that you can get. Now, you're not some asshole that treats their dog or cat like shit. You're somebody who loves it. You would do anything for it. Your animal's your hero. Your animal's your life. You love them more. You love kids. You love them more. You love family. They are your kids. Now, if we had that same love and that same unconditional nature for each other, that same willingness to go out of our way to be selfless for the people in our lives, and if we could carry that space and that place in our heart for that unconditional love to reside and be so easily and effortlessly flowing. I went from being some tough guy that never liked some cats to being out there meowing on my fucking back for 40 minutes in the 110-degree heat, getting grease all over my fucking self. Normally, I wouldn't do that, but I had to take a look and be like, all right, once the situation was done, why did I do that? And it's still something I'm trying to figure out and try to learn. And it is not that the animal's hopeless. The animal has plenty of hope. He probably could survive out there much, much longer than I could give him credit. It's already probably survived a certain amount of time by itself, and maybe I didn't need to intervene. But what I'm looking at and what I see is that with animals and with pets, that we have this unconditional love for these animals, and I feel that we could learn something for that. I feel that we can still have that same amount of unconditional love for each other, and that is the answer. That is the answer to everything that's going on. Instead of me weighing on the topics of what's happening, I want to weigh on the topic of love, and I've said that love is the way. And what does love have to do with it? It has everything to do with it. Love is the way, and love will always be the answer. It will always be the answer. You say, well, but, there's no buts. If you truly love yourself at your core, then you do no harm to others. You do not act out of spite. You do not act out of violence. You do not act out of rage or chaos. When you're truly aware of who you are and your space and place in this world, and you can have that genuine understanding, that self-awareness, and you can be love and emit love and have unconditional love for others, that is the change. That is the one domino that'll break down all the other dominoes in the chain of dominoes in this world. And if we want to see change, we must be change ourselves. And I feel that there's a lesson to be learned from loving animals. Love thy pets as you love thy neighbor. And if we can embody that message, if we can embody what that truly means, I really feel that this world will be a better place. And it all starts with us. So if you have pets out there, if you have dogs, cats, or whatever pet that you love so dearly, that you would die for, that you would kill for, that you would go to great lengths and extents for, take a look at the reason why. Now, once you figure that out, apply that into your lives. Do that same thing that you would do for your dogs and your animals. Do that for your friends. Do that for your family, your mother, your father. Do that for your cousins, your brother, your neighbor. If we all embodied exactly what unconditional love meant with our pets, and we embody that with each other, we would be the change that we seek in this world. And it starts with us. Thank you for tuning in. Episode number 39. We are back and rolling, baby. I had to take a little time off to relax, reset, refocus. And when I got back, obviously there was a lot of heavy things going on. And this week I required some time for myself to really release and breathe and let go. And I didn't want to jump on the mic the first couple days of this week because I felt there was a lot of heaviness in me. There was a lot of tension in me. And I felt that yesterday, I really felt that situation with the cat was a great way to release some of this tension, allowed my heart to open up again and not be so resistive to the love that's available in the world. And it's given me a lot of perspective about life. And I feel that everything in our lives, there's a lesson to be learned. There's no losses, only lessons. And yesterday was just one big lesson in the many lessons that life brings me. So appreciate you guys for tuning in and taking along. As always, stay more in the know. Find me on Instagram at Mor-In The Know. Check out my website at morintheknow.org. And behind me, and what I'm rocking, this camo tee, if you could even see me. Now you see me, now you don't. I know it's camo. You can find us on Instagram at Fueled Supplements, FUELED Supplements, and FueledSupplements.com. Be sure to use code FUEL20 for your discount, 20% off discount on select items. I'm going to be back very, very soon. If it's not tomorrow, it's the next day. But I'm going to keep these rocking and rolling. Appreciate you guys. Love y'all.